everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Hello Spring Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Works, or Spring Sims, and today we are sitting down with yet another good guest who is so knowledgeable at what they do as a content creator, but also a very good friend of mine. Their name is Gonz, or you may know them as MyNameIsGonz on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or even Twitch. They're a gaming content creator best known for their deep dive lore videos, theories, and commentary, especially centered around the Sims franchise that is 26 years old. He blends a lot of storytelling with humor and investigative style breakdowns to explore hidden details, timelines, and character histories across the game, from The Sims 1 to The Sims 4, and even the spin-offs, because they always have some type of lore that makes you so curious of why the way they are. But honestly though, we get into a lot of good conversations in this podcast episode that I know you all will definitely love and enjoy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello, Gonz. Welcome to the Hello Spring Podcast for season 2. I'm so excited to chat with you today. We are really good friends, and it's just always fun to yap about literally gaming, Sims, everything in between. But how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing so awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to chat with you today. I think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I agree too. It's always fun to chat with you and like just kind of get your thoughts and understand like who you are, what you do, and everything. Even though I know what you do, some people might not know what you do, but it's always just like, let's go down memory lane. Let's see what's the world of Gonz. Like what do you do? How do you do? Um,
Absolutely.
but but for the people that don't know who you are, even though I kind of told people in the beginning of the podcast, who are you and like what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Gonz. I am a predominantly Sims content creator. I focus on the lore and storytelling aspects of The Sims. I started with short form content on TikTok and YouTube, and I have now sort of transitioned to long form video essays on YouTube, and it's been quite the adventure.
Well, that's really cool. I've always been like so interested because I honestly am still trying to understand short form each and every day ever since the height of TikTok kind of took the world by storm. I mean, I was originally a Vine person, honestly, and then Musically became a thing, and then TikTok in like the early 2020s, 2019, 2018. Like like what was like your initial I guess impression to short form? Like did it come
Yeah.
like naturally to you?
Yeah, so it was actually interesting because when I started, so I started making short form content in the middle of 2023, right?
Okay.
Um, and at that point, short form, specifically TikTok, had already blown up. Like it had already been a big thing at that point. Um, but what I noticed was that a lot of the short form content that was being made was very, you're very basic, like a person in front of the camera just having a little chat or talking about something, or someone recording something from their phone, right?
Mhm.
And I told myself, like, I wonder I wonder how it would be received if I did very highly produced short form content, you know, like green screen transitions, the whole shebang, right? And
Yeah.
and that was kind of the heart of my content, was to make like really really highly produced short form in the hopes of capturing the audience, and which I think at the time made me stand out, because I would watch short form and it would be just, someone kind of like, you know how TikTok will green screen you very poorly
Yeah.
out of You're right. And it would just be like them in front of like an image talking
It's like
about
we're in
something or whatever.
Italy.
Exactly. Exactly right, right? And I think that was kind of my first exposure point to what I wanted to do. Um, and interestingly, when I started I started as a variety content creator. I made videos about um, Zelda, about Pokemon, about Animal Crossing,
Yes.
about Stardew. I was kind of just all over the place. Um, and I realized at that time that um my videos weren't consistent. Like I would upload one video and it would do very well, and then the next one would do poorly because it was talking about a whole different video game. Um, and it kind of made me realize that TikTok in particular, YouTube not so much, but TikTok in particular, um, really needed you to be in a niche, right? Like you
Yes.
you nee you needed to be one thing on TikTok. If you wanted to do other things, then have separate channels for it, right? Um, so I looked at my content. I kind of looked at what was performing, and I told myself like I love The Sims so much, and my videos talking about the lore are doing so well that I'll just focus on Sims content, right?
Yeah.
And I've kind of never looked back since then.
Wow, that's a really like interesting like journey of like how you started doing like short form, like your experience with it. Because I remember like looking because the algorithm is just constantly feeding us so much information all the time. And when you like one thing, it says, oh, you might like this. Let's give you more of that. And
Yeah.
as a Sims creator myself, who feels like I've been doing this for 10,000 years and needs to retire, um,
No, not
I
at all.
feel
Me.
like I mean, I feel like I didn't should have retired a long time ago, because I've been making content since 2011, and I need to check out. That's why I'm making a podcast, new business adventure.
Love that.
But no, really, honestly, I love podcasting. It's so much fun. I love to talk. But no, like I think with like Sims creators in general, like there's so many ways you can like navigate content, long form, short form, live streaming, posting on like as a blog or anything really. But like short form specifically, I think the originating of that became like for me, my experience was Vine. So like when you like something, it gives you more of that, but the algorithm has gotten more smarter and more creepier in a way.
Yeah,
But
it really has.
with the content, like you said, everything was so like the same. Like there was like someone talking in front of a camera. It was like, okay, just like that general, you know, face head video, but you
Yeah.
made your content stand out more, which is what I loved about your content initially. Before we even knew each other, I'm like, I like this person because you were making content that was interesting, but I was also learning something. But then also, you are sneaky, my friend. You were out here making these transitions, and I'm like, did is it still going on? Like, I don't know. And like you start your video and you end your video kind of like the same. Like I've been
Yeah.
here for 3 minutes. This video's on like 10 seconds long. What's going on? But no, that's what I loved because it one is like the more views, the more it was just going up and up and up. But
Yeah.
it was just very captivating to like
And I
watch.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Yeah, and
that's
it was,
why. Oh, sorry.
no, 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 by all means. I was just saying that there's a psychology component to shorts, right?
Yes.
Um, that the most important moment is your first, 5 seconds, right? In the
Hmm.
first 5 seconds, you need to stop someone from swiping up and going away, right? In fact, interestingly enough, for the longest time in the beginning of my videos, I had never dyed my hair in my entire life, right?
Oh.
And then one day I was like, I want to dye my hair, but wouldn't it be great if like I dyed it like bright pink, right? And then because people would see that and go like, oh, interesting. Someone with like bright pink hair is talking. You know what I
It's like,
mean? Um, exactly. And those were like little things to do to capture. And the looping is exactly what you said. It's to keep retention going because people are like, "Oh, he's still talking. Great, just keep
right.
keep it going." For
Oh
sure.
my gosh. It's like, "Oh, I like this person, pink hair, looping, my kind of
Exactly.
creator." Um, like, what was your, like, first introduction to, like, kinda just going off of short form, like, did you ever, like, use Vine?
Yeah, so I did actually. So I remember like I loved Vine, and I was using it. Like I wasn't a creator, but I was
Mhm.
using the platform for like some of the big things that were happening, like the road work ahead. I sure hope it does. That kind of stuff that was coming out then was was amazing. I thought it was so interesting because it was a platform that was like you have 6 seconds to make your mark. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I thought that that was it brought out a creativity in people that really really exploded in a way that I thought was really, really impressive.
Mhm.
But, it what was interesting to me and I felt like it was both like a blessing and a curse because, short form really humbles you really fast, right?
Right.
Um Because when I started making, like, lore videos, right?
Yeah.
Um, and those are doing really well, right? But I realized that, like, my audience was a niche of a niche, right? It was The Sims, but also people who are interested in, like, the gameplay. 'Cause I couldn't tell you how many times I would get comments of people like, "There's a story in The Sims?"
Like, what?
Or
What's that?
or like
Wait,
or
really?
like, you can play other Sims? I always make my own." It's such a, like, unknown thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, and and in reality, like, there isn't really a whole lot of people that were doing it, right?
No.
Again, like, the big name obviously was Plumbella. She was
Yes,
doing,
I
like,
love
major
her.
lore. Yeah, absolutely. And then there was a creator called The Sims Lore, literally that's their name, right?
I think I know that
Um,
channel.
yeah, yeah, and, like, there's others, don't get me wrong, I don't wanna make, like, as if
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
discrediting anybody else, but, like, those were, like, the 2 big ones that were doing it. So when I started making those videos, I thought, I wanna grow my reach, right? Like, I wanna expand. So I started doing, cooking videos, right? Where
Yes.
I would make food the way that The Sims would make it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and those videos just, like, blew up. Like, they blew up, like, it exploded, and it was huge, and I was having so much fun doing it, but, what ended up happening is that each one of those videos would cost, like, $100 to make, because 'cause
I'm
you'd have to
sorry.
get, like yeah, no, I know it sounds crazy, but, like, you'd have to get all of the ingredients, you'd have to
Oh,
get,
yeah.
like, any of the specific tools and stuff like that, and the result of those videos was not like, I would lose money making those videos, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then I would also donate to Feed America because there was a bit of waste happening in those videos, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to, like, make up for that waste that I was making. And then, again, the algorithm starts telling you, like, "Hey, your cooking videos are blowing up, and forget this lore thing, like, don't even bother with that." You know what I mean? Um, and and I didn't wanna do that. I didn't want to do that. So I stopped that, and I decided, I'm not gonna chase what's popping and, like, getting me bunches of views. I'm gonna focus on
Mhm.
the content that I believe does the most good, right? That I
Yeah.
can inform and teach, and that was kind of like the heart of my decision in short form. Um, and yeah, it's been really rewarding, I think. Um, but as you know now, like, TikTok has changed its entire process. Now shorts are no longer 1 minute. I had to sit there and, like,
No,
yeah, I had to sit there and, like, really think, like, how am I going to fit all this in, like, 1 minute? But now you can make 10-minute videos on TikTok. You can make,
which is kind of
9-minute
crazy.
videos on YouTube. Yeah, like, it's just it's you could just do so much there. And vertical, is really expanding, like, you got Instagram Live, you have TikTok
Yep.
Live, um, even Twitch is exploring a vertical live streaming option for people who are on mobile, you know? Um,
Yeah. Which
yeah,
I
and
think
it's
it's
mhm,
personally, like, a really good way because everyone and their mother and child is wanting to be some form of creator. I think you've probably experienced this in real life where kids, like you might see kids, his nephews, whoever, will come up to you saying, "I want to be a
Yeah.
YouTuber."
Yeah.
That's kind of like the
Yeah.
main thing that kids want to do as a profession. And I think personally what we do for a living is so amazing, so rewarding, and we're also grateful for it. It's like we have all this knowledge. Like you said in your Instagram story the other day, a series of
Yeah.
videos, how like we as influencers, which is a very interesting word, like we have no clue what we're doing. We really don't.
Yeah.
We think we do, but we
Yeah.
don't. We have no
No,
idea.
exactly.
Um, we're just pressing that button and hoping for the best. Our brain will
Yeah.
function enough to
Yeah.
record anything. Um, but I
Yeah,
think like
I agree.
it's important to always have like the mindset that you want to create, but like what are you
Mhm.
creating for?
Yes. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that's so incredibly important. I feel like if you're making content and it has no intrinsic unique value, like
Yeah.
it's not like accomplishing something that either hasn't been done before or is doing it in a way that you feel is making some kind of change or doing something that hasn't been done before, then it's going to be a struggle, you know.
Yeah.
um and that's, I very early on wanted to set myself apart and do something unique, right? And I see very, very, very many small creators who will make content and it'll just be like, them playing a video game and stuff. And like, yeah, there's something to be said about your personality shining through and people gravitating
Mhm.
towards that. But there's so many people doing that. Like there's
Yes.
so many people doing that. And like the chances of you being found by simply playing a video game is not going to be in your favor. You need to find a way to be different, you know?
Right.
And I think it's important.
Especially if you wanna make it a career, make money from it.
Yes.
Because like, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I think with content creation, it's fun, but if you always think about the money, money, money aspect early on, it's going to ruin you very early on.
Yeah.
It's you definitely have to in a way brand yourself to make your channel, make your content uniquely you. Like put yourself into your own content rather than trying to put on a fake persona just saying, "Hey, this is me." And it's like in reality, is it really you? Cuz with the internet and I think in terms of like short I think I learned this from short form personally for me. I'm not sure about for you, but short form and you watch creators on your phone, you can really pick up the nuances of like, are they being real and genuine or are they being fake and like just doing this just for the views, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree 1,000% about that. And that's been a struggle I've had, and how I've tried to talk with other creators, that there's a balance of like being yourself, which I think is important, and also like being digestible by an audience. Because the inverse,
Mhm.
right, is like I've known other creators who are very much like, I'm just gonna be me, but I'm like, maybe waxing poetic about some of your beliefs might drive away a whole lot of people if you're like really passionate about it online and stuff like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, but absolutely, I think that there's an impact there. Interestingly, about short form. When I started, right, and like I said, not to sound egotistical, but when I started, I had a big blow up at the very beginning, right?
Right.
um and I remember like friends of mine would go to like Reddit, for like the Sims Reddit and other places like that, and they would look like, when people would make like, oh, who's your favorite creator and stuff like that, and like, I'd see names like Spring Sims and Little Simsy and
Mhm.
stuff like that, right? um but then whenever I would be brought up, it would be like, "Oh, that big guy who does cooking videos." Like no one would know who I was. And it made me kind of have this realization that like, yeah, everyone was seeing me, but no one actually knew who I was. Like no
Right.
one knew my name, right?
Right.
Um, because when you're scrolling on your phone, right? How realistically, how often do you scroll on your phone and look at the username of a video you're watching,
Too
you
often.
know? Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Um, but, like, it's for me, it was like, I know so many people that I could pinpoint and be like, "Oh, I know that person. I know their person." But, like, for a great example would be, Jordan the Stallion, who does, like, the cooking stuff on TikTok.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know what that is.
he's the one that, like, takes off his glasses and, like, throws them whenever he's, like, doing stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever encountered him, but,
No.
I'll mention it to people, and they'll be like, "Oh, I have no idea what who you're talking about," and then I'll explain the video, or I show them videos like, "Oh, yeah, absolutely, I know exactly who you're talking about,"
Oh, I know
right?
who that
Uh
is. See, I didn't even know his actual name.
Exactly, right? Which is actually what prompted me, and there was actually a an article a couple of years ago about this. There was a very famous TikTok creator. They had like 4 million followers on TikTok, right? And they
Mhm.
did a Q&A, like a session at VidCon, like a meet and
Yeah.
greet, and no one showed up.
No.
No one.
That is the
No.
scariest thing. I was crazy, like,
Yeah.
you you'll have all these followers, but it's the
Yeah.
scarcity of, like, no one showing up. That's the
Yeah.
horrifying part. Because I mean, like I said before, we have no idea what we're doing half of the time,
Right.
but we have, like, a genuine passion for something, but we always want to make
Yeah.
sure that, like, we want to do projects that will be successful in the long run, and however people define success is definitely the individual, how they define that, and, like, for me, I define success as that, I did this for me, and that's
Yeah.
enough. I feel like as
Yeah.
I've gotten older, I'm like, it's not really about the numbers or the money, it's like, as long as I enjoyed making something, that's all that matters to me, and I felt successful in
Yeah.
that. Um,
Yeah.
but that's scary. I've heard horror stories about people hosting events and then no one shows up. I'm like, scary. This is coming from a previous event coordinator for my
Yeah.
school.
Ooh.
Horrifying.
No, yeah, and I agree, and it kind of it talked a little bit about how short form will get you views, but people might not necessarily build a community around you, right? Which is different, like on as you know, like on Twitch, like you build a community around you of people who legitimately want to watch your content constantly. They like talking with you. They like interacting with you. Um,
Mhm.
and that's why very like, I told myself, like, I'm gonna do everything I can to become a long form creator, because long form is one of those things where people have to go looking for your content. It's not being fed to them, right?
Right.
Um, and I did that, and I put as much effort and work into my long form videos that I did with all my other videos. And I was fortunately successful, and now, if I go to one of those threads, people talk about, "Oh, yeah, Gonz is great in the lore and stuff like that," because I even see people searching my name to look for videos, and that's not unique to me. Like, I could tell you, Steven, like, right now, like, whenever I go to, like, put the little tags in my video, the first recommended tag is always Spring Sims. To this day, it just pops up.
I do be tagging myself quite a bit in all of
No.
my videos.
No, but your videos, you're a legend in the community, so naturally you're known. Like, that's such a such an important aspect, and there are many short form creators out there who are doing big numbers, but unfortunately they're not really able to develop a community just on TikTok. So that's why I
Mhm.
always I always recommend expand if you want to expand, like, make long
Yes.
form, go to Twitch, do Instagram lives, go TikTok lives, do everything you can to reach as many people, for the opportunity to have individuals who come to know who you are, and will support you in the long term. And I think that that's so important.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've learned too. Like, when Vine died,
Mhm.
all those Viners were like, Oh
Yeah.
snap! Let's go somewhere else because then Musically became a thing, like in the midst of like the Vine era, and then Musically died, and then TikTok became a thing, and now all these other different platforms are doing the same thing. But I think that's definitely the key, the understandable key as a creator. Never put your eggs in one basket because if
Yes.
one platform dies, then what do you have? If you're making this a
Right.
career and you want to make this keep building that audience, but also building that connection, that community connection, you
Yes.
want to have something else lined up for yourself. Whether you are just starting out or you've been doing this for a very long time, it's important to have a backup. But if you don't want to do anymore, that's also up to you as a
Yeah.
creator. So
Yeah.
I feel like with everything, like, did you like with your love for The Sims and love for gaming, like where did that kind of like begin?
Mm, yeah. So I remember having this conversation with some of the sim gurus at TwitchCon. My first exposure to The Sims was a burned CD that my brother got for free of The Sims One. Don't pirate, kids. Don't pirate.
Don't do that.
Um,
Don't do that.
but but I remember playing it and thinking, oh my god, this is so much fun! Like being able to build things and like you know mess with your Sims and get them into like having crazy lives. So I was exposed to The Sims at a very very early age, um, and then I played The Sims 2 and it was a glow up in the greatest
Yeah.
extreme. Like, yeah, yeah, it was so much fun. Like I loved the fact that it was like scripted story. Like you could do whatever you wanted, but the game like was pre-built with this narrative of like this is the story that's happening. I mean, you can try to divert from it if you will, but this is what's going to happen so that you can enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I absolutely loved it. I didn't consume content at that time. Obviously, there wasn't really like a whole lot of it at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
But I loved playing it. I would binge it very regularly. And I kind of dropped away from the series after The Sims 3 came out because I thought it was, forgive me, so ugly to look at. So I
No,
was
you're
like,
not
I'm
wrong. Same. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
I love The Sims. Love me some
Yeah,
Sims 3 here and there. It was mostly
yeah.
like I didn't really get into The Sims 3. Like base game, skipped a lot of things, generations, seasons,
Mhm.
university, ambitions, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were kind of ugly, not gonna lie.
No, exactly. It was ugly to look at. I didn't like how The Sims looked. I wasn't a fan of it. Um, and also it was so big. Like, it was almost
Yes.
like unbearably big. Like, there was so much in a town, there were so many different places, the like, it gave me too many tools, and I know that sounds funny in this era, but, like, I needed a little bit more simplicity in my life.
Yeah. I was a little
Yeah, but that
overwhelmed by the open world. I'm like, I
yeah,
don't really want it. I know some people
yeah,
want open world, but I'm like, I don't really want open world because that's overwhelming and as a whole with everything running
yeah,
in the background. But then also
yeah.
just the general computer, can it really handle that?
Oh,
Yes and
no.
no.
Yeah, yeah. Especially then, it was really rough. It was really rough. Even the console versions would stutter and lag. It was that bad.
I only had base game. I didn't know they had made other paths for the console. At least
Yeah,
for
no, they
Sims 3
did.
wise.
Yeah, they did, surprisingly, yeah. Sims 3 on Xbox 360 and stuff, they absolutely did, and it was, that I think that's one of the most fun things about doing lore videos is that I get to play all of those, like, console spin-offs for the purposes of capturing lore and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
the gameplay can be a little daunting. Like, there was the Sims 3 Pets that released on
Yes.
console and
Uh,
handheld, stuff like that. Yeah, it
uh,
was a lot of fun.
Great days, literally
It
great
really was.
days of the early Sims. I would love for them to go back to those days. Give me like if they were ever making another like Sims game, personally, I'm like, give me like Sims 2 everything. Just take all
Yeah.
that. Little Sims 4 here and there, little Sims 3, little Sims 1, and just make it. But that's a pipe dream. That's a dream that I would love to have, but could it happen? Probably not.
Yeah,
With
I
everything
I
that's
I
going on.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I feel like The Sims 4, and to this day, whenever I'm making videos, I'll get comments like, "Oh, The Sims 4 doesn't have lore," or "The Sims 4 doesn't do that," right?
It's like,
And I try to, yeah, exactly. And I try to inform people that it does. It's just being presented a little differently. Um, but The Sims 4 really, there's a whole history to it, and I'm sure it's a complicated tale, but it started as a mobile game and then was transitioned
yes.
into what it is and everything like that. Um, but the game though, or the developers really took the position of like, oh, it's all up to the player. Like the player can do everything. Like the player can figure it out. Like they can make the story and stuff like that. We're just gonna give them like a fresh canvas to do with whatever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
which which was great for like build buy. Like I don't, with a couple of exceptions, I don't think I've really heard major complaints about like the build buy of The Sims 4, right?
I
Like the
love
building
building
and
behind The
everything. Like,
Sims 4. It's
yeah,
great.
yeah, it's great. But I think they missed the mark as to what players wanted. Because yeah, players want to have their own ability, like they want to have the ability to create their sim and tell their stories. But I say this with like all the respect in the world. Like I'm I might be creative to like go ahead and like create a bunch of sims, but there's a bunch of people out there that I've spoken to that are like, can you tell me like what my sim does? Like, can you just like give me a sim that like has like this family and like this problems and like these things and let me play it out and see how I do it? Like they kind of want that pre-made story for them to interact
Mm-hmm.
with, right?
Yeah.
Rather than build out this whole thing and stuff like that. And the Sims 4 really lack that. Like at least at the very beginning, right? There
Yes, in
weren't
the beginning.
relationships
Yeah,
across
yeah.
households. Yeah, there wasn't relationships across households. Everyone was just like very Stepford wives and like in regards to like how like perfect and pristine they were. There were no issues. And it was really hard to digest at the time. So I'm glad that they've moved away from that. But I would love for them if they made another Sims game, that they went back to their roots of like, building an actual story that we can expand on, which I think would be
Yeah.
great.
I like, because the thing about the Sims community, we're always creative in so many different ways, but we're also chaotic. Like,
Yes.
I really truly think that Will Wright, love that man. Without him, we would not have the Sims or a career.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but like I feel like most of the time, most game developers, maybe all, I don't know, who are in the life simulator era in that genre, thinking, I don't think people are supposed to play the game this way, but yet we did. Like having 100 babies. I want to know who thought of that idea, because I mean, keep that to yourself. Don't put that into the public, but yet it is. I've done that challenge
Yeah.
4 times, not for the weak.
No, I struggle. I get through like 3 or 4 babies and then I'm done. I'm so bad at it. Like I can't do it. But I agree. I agree. There's an aspect. I mean, there's people out there. I mean, I know I did when I was super young playing The Sims. I would like daydream my perfect life. You know what I mean? Like I'd make like, my dream partner, and I'd kind of build this life of like what I wanted and stuff like that. So it was very much sort of escapism for me that I think definitely, to an extent, is what people want. So I definitely agree on by that one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I love about video games in general, because it's always evolving every single day, whether it's your first game or your 10 hundredths game, that like there's so many, I guess, like in my eyes, that I'm not a game developer, but I've seen like firsthand what game development is like from working with the Sims team on Royalty and Legacy. But there's so many different like barriers of like what they can and cannot add in terms of like knowledge, maybe, or budget, or higher ups or whoever. But like from your perspective, like what are some like the biggest barriers of like inclusivity in gaming that you've like
Yeah.
seen?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think for me, the I've noticed that The Sims itself has always been a very inclusive game, even from the beginning.
Mhm.
Especially in an era where they couldn't do certain things. Like
Right.
they couldn't say, like, in public, they couldn't announce certain things or say certain things, which I thought was incredible. But um, there is a bit of selectism in the current inclusivity of The Sims 4 that I think is kind of disappointing. Like there are there are custom pronouns and relationship tags and all of these great things, but to me, like, how come there is no focus on physical disabilities? Like,
Right.
why can't a sim be in a wheelchair? Why can't a
Mhm.
sim have a prosthetic, right? Like, I
Right.
think a lot of people would appreciate that long before a bunch of fancy new dresses. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that that's such an important thing. But I mean, I suppose I think that I know for certain that the Sims team, the people who work on the game, would love to do
Oh,
something like that, but I bet when it goes up
100%.
to, like, I bet when it goes up to the executive board, they're like, "We can't market this." You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
that's where it fails and dies, I think, which is very disappointing. Another aspect that I think is extraordinarily, lacking is mental, and I'm gonna use the word disability, but it's absolutely not, just like,
Right.
neurodivergence, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Um Neurodivergence doesn't exist in the game. Like, you don't
No.
have ADHD or autism or OCD or anything like that. And
Mhm.
I think having that as an option, I think, would be incredible. And there have been people out there who have managed to make something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that it would resonate with players to have a sim that perhaps can get overstimulated,
Yeah, I
or they
would
need
love
to
that.
be. Exactly. Or they need to be alone, or things like that, right? Like, those, I think, are so important aspects of inclusivity that I feel are very, very lacking in The Sims 4. And I recognize that it's not because the Sims team doesn't want to do it, it's that
Mhm.
whatever they do has to be marketable, right? Like,
Right.
it has to, unfortunately, it has to make money, right?
Right.
And that's really the biggest, I believe, the biggest barrier to adding inclusivity is that ultimately,
Yeah.
and not to be negative, but there's something to be said that likely a lot of the um progress that we've made in inclusivity in The Sims 4 might have been to capitalize on, the sort of the marketing aspect of, like, oh, pride and things like that, right? Which is great. It works
Mhm.
out for
Yeah.
for us in the end of the day, right?
Yes.
But that's kind of the thing, and because of that, some of the more silent disabilities get left at the wayside, and I think they really don't. They really shouldn't be. I think that's such an important thing.
Right. And I always believe that you should never put diversity and inclusion behind a paywall, ever.
Exactly.
I think it should
Agreed.
always be free for everyone, accessible.
Agreed.
And I like that The Sims 4 is free now
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
pay $80 for mine. And I'm like, I ain't going back. Um,
Exactly.
so,
Exactly.
so like that direction was like so happy to me because I feel like
Yeah.
gaming should be accessible to everybody around the world. Because to me, gaming has not only allowed me to create content, but it has allowed me to just be more confident in myself as a person, like being able to see myself, like my blackness in a video game, whether it's Sims or Grand Theft Auto or like The Walking Dead or whatever game it might be. I that's important to me because when I'm not able to see myself, I'm like, then what am I watching or playing it for? I mean, maybe
Yeah.
for the gameplay, yeah. But I think everyone wants to be able to authentically recreate themselves or be able to um, play as a character that looks like themselves because it's important to the individual. And as the gaming industry evolves over time, especially when video games tap into character creation specifically and the story mode behind it, they have to think about the individual of like who are they marketing it to and how they are making the game itself and what could they include early on to make this product that they're selling or adding to an update worthy for the player to like play through or have to their character, whether it's hairstyles, skin tones, pronouns, um, anything.
Yeah, I think that that's absolutely critically important, and I think that um, attempts to or people saying that it's you know it's trying to monopolize or do anything like that are being a little unfair and disingenuous, because at the end of the day it's about making people comfortable, right?
Mhm.
Speaking, you mentioned Grand Theft Auto just a moment ago, but the Elder Scrolls Oblivion was re-released a couple of months ago, right? Which was a game that
Huh,
came out in like 2003 or four or something like that, right?
which is wild.
Yeah, and they changed a lot of things. Like, it's no longer about choosing male or female; it's just body one or body two, right?
Mhm.
And those are just little things that make people feel more comfortable. And the internet blew up saying things like, oh, they're trying to diversify a game that doesn't need it and stuff like that. And I'm like, who's this hurting? Like,
Right.
who's this hurting really? Right?
It's
Like,
just a
what it
video game.
exactly. It's just a game. And maybe somebody who has that body type doesn't, you know, want to be called male or female or anything like that. And they want to feel more comfortable. And it costs nothing. It hurts nothing. Why do you have a problem with it? Like that's the biggest issue that I have with that. And I agree 10,000%. It's it's one of the reasons why I tried and didn't fully appreciate playing Inzoi at the beginning, because it lacked a tremendous amount of diversity at the very get-go, right?
Mhm.
um it was a game that lacked it, and unfortunately in 2026, any life sim that I play, I expect to have a full range of customization of self-identity, um or else it's not going to be the game for me. Just
Mhm.
that's the reality of it.
Yeah. That's why I find like I think what I wanna see in the next, like, 5 to 10 years for video games is, like, just looking at the hairstyles and how they evolve because there's so many resources now for game developers, which is just so helpful, and I think everyone can learn something from each other, especially if they tap into, I think, the life simulation or just character creation in general. There's so many video games that have that they can learn from, like Sims or Loftia or Pair Lives down the line, or, like, Inzoi or any other, like, game that has it. It's just like, yeah, that's what we want to see. We wanna see more more effort, and I think as a community of gamers, we wanna see that continue further in a more positive way rather than a negative way.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree 10,000%. And I think that what we as a community need to do is we need to hold the game companies and the developers accountable for that, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's such a it it's about normalizing. That's the first thing to do, is normalize this. Normalize identity options, normalize inclusivity and diversity in your video game, to the point that it's not even a conversation piece anymore. It's just the norm, you
Yeah.
know? And that's what I would love to see um in a video game, and video games moving forward. I mean, even again, like I'm even today, like my sexuality, how I represent it, doesn't really exist in video games, right? It
No.
doesn't have like a
Yeah.
very clear defined um description, and even then, like, I would love for it to be even more granular, to be able to explore it more effectively, right? But yeah, that's
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah. One day, we can make our own game. That's what we can do.
Exactly.
And I feel like what's been like your favorite game that you've played or looking forward to in I guess 2025 and also now 2026 cuz mine has been Stardew Valley. I love that game.
Yeah, I love Stardew Valley. Interestingly, like back when I first started making shorts, I made a lot of videos about the lore of Stardew Valley.
Yes,
And
you
there's a lot
did.
in there. I know people might not really know that, but there's a lot in there, like a lot, which I think is just a beautiful, beautiful game. I could spend hours and days. Like I can if I start Stardew Valley today, if I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna play a little bit of Stardew Valley, it'll be like 9 p.m. and I'll look around and be like, what happened?
Exactly.
Because you get so like, oh, just one more day, just one more day, just one more day, right?
Yeah. I've done that
um,
many times on stream.
ex- exactly. But yeah, I think specifically looking into 2026, I'm really excited about what Pair Lives can bring, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm really excited about that game in particular. Um, I There's a part of me that worries a little bit because everything we've seen is that it's been beautiful, but it's also given kind of like serious, right? Like
Mhm.
kind of like deep, right? Kind of almost like Life is Strange a little bit, right?
Yes.
Um, and I love that, but like to an extent, some people just want to have a good time and be quirky, and I think that's what makes Sims so fun is that it you can make it deep, but you could also just make it silly and chaotic, which is a ton of
Right.
fun, right?
Yeah.
Um, but if my life sim is just like full on just drama constantly,
No.
I might get a little, um, a little overwhelmed about it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I'm also really looking forward to Loftia. I like the idea of like a multiplayer
Yes.
um life sim to be able to explore. And I've been playing the heck out of Pokopia, like Pokemon Pokopia. So much fun. Like it
I'm
is so
s
much fun.
I'm Switch 2 list. I don't have a Switch
Oh no.
2.
Oh goodness. No, it's and that's been like the meme, unfortunately, of people like, oh, I wish I could play, but I don't have a Switch too. And that's so true, but oh man, it's so good. It's so good. It's I
It
love it.
looks really fun. Recently saw a bunch of people like recreate real life builds, like Olive Garden. I'm like, what kind of game is this? What do you mean building Olive Garden? An IKEA? People out here building structures galore, and then you turn to your friend's Switch, and it's like, what happened? Why does your island look sad and bare? Over here, they have
Exactly.
this skyscraper, and you have the desert wasteland.
Exactly. I saw those same videos of people building like these complex things, and if you go into my game, I'll spend 4 hours just trying to like put down a road. It's just like so I don't know where people get the skills for that, but that's amazing.
I don't know either, but it's definitely like it goes to show that everyone has like has ounces of creativity in them. Whether
Mhm.
they just have to find like their like you said like their niche to that will have them tap in. Like mine is like Sims, Stardew, Animal Crossing. That's about it. I have other games, but I love story narrative games as well. But I think we need that like that cozy side or like that game that really makes us be like, this is our whole personality now. We don't know anything else but this.
No,
Cause
yeah, I agree.
I feel like that's the fun thing about gaming. There's something about because everyone started game development out of passion, out of like wanting to create something that did not exist. Like Will Wright, I'm sure there was other life simulator games out there, but Will Wright's Sims game that he created did not exist. So he created something out of his own passion, but also out of a pure accident. Because I think there was like a fire that happened that sparked that
Yes.
inspiration for The Sims 1 and how chaotic it is today. I just think Sims for me, or just as games in general for me, is much bigger than just the game itself. There's a deeper meaning to it. Even if there isn't in there, it's just like the deeper meaning.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think um there is I've made this joke before that if you had like a Venn diagram of like people who play The Sims and then um people who kind of want to escape reality and live a different life for just a little bit, it would just be a perfect circle. You know what I mean? Like,
So true.
right? Because I think that The Sims is ultimately an escapism, and I
Mhm.
don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it that it's this game that you can take kind of the frustrations of real life and just put that aside for a moment and play things out in a way that you're in control of. I mean, we as a people or as a species we are so lacking control of anything. Like we don't really have much control over what's happening in the world. We don't have, control about, so much. And I think that being able to play a game that lets you have the control you need is almost like uh it gives you this freedom, this feeling of like, comfort and being able to, control things in a way that makes things a little bit easier, I guess, on a day to day,
Mhm.
right? And that's for people who like play gameplay. Other people just want to build pretty things. I mean, I know people who play The Sims who have never once clicked on a sim. They just literally like build. That's all they do. They have no idea. They just build, build, build. Right. So
Yeah.
that's for sure. For sure. I definitely agree with you on that one.
I just feel like also too with all of that, I think what are you looking most forward to video games in like the next, I don't know, 5 years? Sounds kind of spooky, but what are you most looking for?
Yeah. It's getting to the point where video game development is um getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So like of
Yeah.
course like I look forward to games like the next Fallout and like the next Elder Scrolls and stuff like that. The next Grand Theft Auto. I've been waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 forever now. Like forever now.
It'll come out
Um
in 2035, you know?
exactly. Um but really what I want to see in video games is the ability to tell your own narrative in a much more comprehensive way. And what I mean by that, right, is so here, let me give you an example, right?
Yeah.
Today I could make a sim and then I could say, "Oh, they're former best friends with this person, but they're not friends anymore." And you would just like change the relationships to hate each other, right? But
Mhm.
I want nuance. Like I want to be able to go to a game and say, okay, so this person did this to them, right? And this is how they feel being around them so that I have much more complex interactions. So like, maybe the sim or the two characters get along perfectly, but if they bring up, dating, then they get really triggered because of something that happened. And then because of that, you have a whole greater experience. Because I mean, relationships are intricate.
Yeah.
You might be totally pleasant with somebody, but maybe there's like this one bad blood, this one bad thing that like if you bring it up, it's going to make you a little salty and you don't want to bring that up and stuff like that, right?
Right.
I think that that's what I want to see in the next 5 years, especially from like the life sim genre
Mhm.
is more dynamic, like not only the inclusivity aspect and the self-representation, but more complexity in your interactions with the characters in the world, right? Not just and it's definitely where we're heading, right? Um
Yeah.
yeah, for lack of unfortunately for better or for worse, AI is a reality in the gaming space, right? For better or for worse.
Right.
Um but I think that that's something that you could be able to say like this is the history of what's happened. You can catalog everything that's occurred and then build relationship um parameters based on that. So definitely hoping that that's something that we see.
Yeah, I hope so too, and definitely in the future for sure. Because I feel like with games, I love them, but I wanna see a little bit more difference in each and every one of them that I play, so they're not all the
Right.
same.
Right.
But
Agreed.
I wanted to definitely, like, ask you a question because I feel like with being a creator, there's so much that goes into it. Like, what's something that people don't realize about the business of being a content creator that, like, you could explain?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that um, it. I don't think people appreciate how lonely it is to be
Mhm.
a content creator, right?
Yeah.
Um, for me, I have to before I can even make like a 1 minute short. I have to sit down and I have to write a script myself, right? I have to then plan the shots. I then have to set up my green screen. I have to record in my little office by myself, right?
Mhm.
Um, and do the voiceover, put the video together. Um, and I'll spend maybe like 8 or 9 hours on a 1 minute short,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Um, and all of that I'm kind of doing just kind of like by myself and putting things together and you know um trying to get the best possible thing out there. And like, yeah, I have partners that I work with and creative partners that help me with like my footage and stuff like that. But it really, I think there's an inherent kind of like, it's not like going to an office where you have a whole bunch of coworkers that you can chat with and stuff like that. It's a very
Right, right.
it's a very personal, very individual aspect. And there's so many little things that you have to keep in mind and you have to consider before posting. Titles and tags and hashtags and descriptions and cover titles and thumbnails. Um, and there's a lot of minutia to it. I think that a lot of people maybe sometimes might take for granted, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's why a lot of people tend to gravitate, and it's easier to gravitate towards like the drama of it, right? Like, oh, just let's
Yeah.
talk about how bad the game is, or let's talk about how bad the community is, or whatever, because that's easy, right?
Right.
Um, and I think that um getting that done is something that I think is important. And I would also say I think something that people might take for granted specifically to me, because I see this in my content all the time. It's like, I can't believe that you memorize all of this. And I'm like, I have a teleprompter that, that has everything that I wrote right there in front of me. Like, I'm not
Right.
I'm not spitting this out ad nauseum. You know what I mean? Like
Like, my
I
brain
have
is
a
not what it used to be.
exactly. I have a script that I follow and everything like that. But yeah, it's a very complicated process, and I think that's something that people don't realize exactly how much effort it takes to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's I like that. I like your way of speaking that, explaining that because it's more than just pressing the record button, the go live button, and then posting it. There's a lot that goes into it that does take a lot of time, but I think it's also like you should never see this as like a chore, you know?
Mhm.
It's
Right.
it's you have to really enjoy it rather than
Yeah.
force yourself to enjoy it. Because if you force yourself, it's like it's not gonna be fun for the long haul, but I dread editing, but I actually kind of like it at the same time. I think just finding the different bits and pieces that make sense, um, especially, like, whether it's short form or long form, it's, like, always uniquely you in your videos or whatever you're creating or editing that day.
Yeah, I think so, and there has to be a passion, like the viewers can tell when something matters to you and when it doesn't, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, just like you mentioned earlier, there's a level of authenticity that you need to have, right?
Yeah.
And but of course you also have to have like a professionalism to every little thing. I think that the hard I again, um, people might view my videos and go, "Oh, he's so eloquent and he's so well spoken," and I'm like, you have no idea how many I've removed from my I've edited out of my video so that it sounds like I'm saying all of this in one go, but I promise you it is edited to heck. Like it is so drilled down. But yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I just hope that people, whoever listening to this episode, just take it all in and, just have fun with it, what you're doing. If you ever need any help, we're always here. We never gatekeep anything here with content creation. We want everyone to succeed and have fun with it, whether it's making short form, long form, live streaming, whatever it might be. I think we all want people to have that sense of enjoyment that we get it from every day.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
One little, like, if you could describe your community, your your brand in one word, what would it be?
Yeah, I think it would honestly be literal lore nerd.
I love that. You could make a book, honestly. Really, you could. You should write a book. I'm telling
Oh my
you.
gosh. Oh, that'd be great.
2026 goal for
There you go.
2027,
Got it.
possibly.
Got it on
Yeah.
my vision board. Ready to go.
um, so with everything that you've been doing this for a while. When people look back at your content, like, what would you want them to take away from it?
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me is for people to see that um, The Sims is a reflection of real life about what's happening today, right?
Mhm.
Um, and to really see the story and the characters that have been built, originally by Will and expanded on by the team in with passion. Um, being part of the Sims partner program and um being able to have the opportunity to meet all of these like every chance I've had to meet like a developer for The Sims, it's always like, oh yeah, I've been here since The Sims 2 or I've been here since The Sims 3. Like these people have been working on this game since like
Bu
day one, and they care
Yes,
about these characters. Like they
they
care
do.
about what they're doing. They care about what they're putting together. So when I see people say like, "Oh, The Sims 4 sucks," or like, "The Sims 4 has no lore," and stuff like that. It's like, listen, you're welcome and entitled to your opinion, but I hope you can watch my video and see that maybe that might not be the case.
Yeah, because like, the way that I remember seeing, like, some type of post somewhere a long time ago that Sims 1, 2, and 3 were, um, a storytelling
Yeah,
simulator, and Sims 4 is
yeah,
a life simulator, because the older games were telling a story, whereas The Sims 4 is, like, you get to create your story that you want to
agreed,
create. Because,
agreed.
like, the way it is described, at least it's very sandboxy. They started from literal scratch, because it was gonna be like a multiplayer type of game and, like,
Yeah,
scratch that, and that's why, like, people don't know, if you go back to 2014 Sims 4 videos specifically, you'll see, like, the
mhm,
map was all one color, you had 2
mhm,
worlds, like, what we have in base game now did not exist in 2014. Looking back at all of that, it's like they were building it as they were developing more features, and they care so much. Like, I love the sim developers. They're so kind. They're all silly and I love it. I love their
agreed.
silly quirkiness, especially with how they, make their features, and of course how they, make the packs and all the lot descriptions and sims. It's all funny to me, because I feel like I've known them for so long, but also I think it's just out of genuine passion, and they love
Yeah,
The Sims and love video game development in general, that they put themselves into their creation. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but SimGuru Ninja, um, love him dearly, I I tend to see whenever I'm playing a Sims pack, like the early Sims, like I'm like, is that Ninja? Like, did he put himself in the game and I didn't notice? I thought it was funny,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
no, I think because it's the hairstyles and the facial hair. I'm like, that looks like Ninja, but no, I
Yeah, I
think it's
think
just
so.
like so so. It's just really cool.
Yeah,
Be able to see developers, game developers in person, like that's like why I think a lot of us go to game conventions like TwitchCon and VidCon and all the other places, of course, to see all of our friends and everything, because that's the main number one reason. But seeing the person behind the game is kind of cool at the end of the day.
agreed, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's important aspect. That's why I try to stay positive. Like, yes, I'm going to talk about the things that I don't like, and I'm going to talk about things that I think are problematic in both our community and for the Sims. But at the end of the day, I've been playing this game and this series for over 20 years now. Like, I
Hmm.
love it. Like, it's one of my most favorite things, and um, I just it's a work of passion for me, and I hope everyone sees that.
Yeah, I hope so too. And something that I've been always saying that, wherever you go, like at least wherever I go, it's like make sure you spread love, kindness, and positivity wherever you are in the world, online and offline. Because we need a lot more positivity in the world, personally, and just in general. Just, yeah, we just need more positivity, like more kinder, honest, lovable people in the world. And I think that's why I find this having a sense of like-minded people together, like you and me and then everybody else. It's just nice to know that we have someone to talk to every day, for several hours. And yeah, like I don't know. I think because like I watch so many creators and I watch and listen to so many podcasts that they're Amy Poehler. I don't know if you know, from Parks and
Yeah,
Rec and SNL. Love her
yeah,
dearly. I love her
definitely.
podcast, The Good Hang, and something that
Yeah,
has always resonated with me at the end of her podcast. She asks her guests, "It's like, what is making you laugh?" Which is like I never really thought about asking people that because I'm like, okay, interesting. But I think it's also like, yeah, like, what's making you laugh today?
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's for me. Um, honestly, like I open up Instagram first thing in the morning, and just like popping up some of those reels that are just so ridiculous and so funny. Just cracks me up about everyday experiences, either about relationships or about family life, or even like the struggles of neurodivergence, which I have. um
Mhm.
that makes me laugh. I love having positive um comedy, right? Like, not comedy at someone's expense, right?
Yeah.
But being able to just laugh about the shared experience that we're all having, and I really get the most of that from Instagram every day, and that's what really cracks me up a lot. Also, the Pocopia memes are just really really funny.
Yes, it's so funny, especially the, uh, Tamagotchi life.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That demo is so great, I love it, but the memes
yeah. It's
are
great.
so the demo has no filter of any kind whatsoever.
I love that.
Um, I would I would hope that there is some filtering in the actual, like, retail version, but if there isn't, oh, things are about to be in an actual uproar, and it's gonna be hilarious. Um, that's why that's why I love, like, just I'm glad short form is still, like,
Yeah,
existing because without it, it would
yeah.
just nothing would make any sense anymore. I
Agreed.
feel we need to keep it alive and well as long as we possibly can.
Agreed.
Because
Agreed.
that's we need it. But to kind of wrap things up with the podcast episode today, I would love to ask you a series of questions that you can only answer in one word.
Okay, great.
What is your sign?
Scorpio.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. If you had to choose one thing to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
Mm, yes. I love pizza.
Me too. Me too.
Um, ooh, I need to make some tomorrow, actually, not gonna lie.
Yum.
Um, Another question would be like if you could make um your ideal video game, what would be one feature you would want to see or add?
Yeah, I think a very often we don't have video games that have like proper like a proper romance plot. Like very often we have like the hero and the hero
Yeah.
is doing something, just for the good of being a hero. Like the Legend of Zelda. Like the Legend of Zelda is such
Yes.
a critical game, but like Link doesn't canonically love Zelda.
No.
He's just doing it because he's a good dude, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
But like I would love to see, I would love to have more games. Like my ideal game is watching a character go through hell and high water for the purposes of saving their love. Like that's something that I think is powerful and resonates with
Yeah.
everybody.
That's why I love The Walking Dead and Life is Strange. Takes you
Exactly,
through it
exactly,
takes you through a loop. Really. It
exactly.
really
Agreed.
does. Oh my
Agreed.
gosh. And the last and final question is, I guess this could be a long one too if you want to. Um, what is some advice you would like to give someone who is just starting out creating content?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I talked a little bit about this, but um, I think what's most important is starting is the hardest thing, right?
Mhm.
But continuing is even harder.
Yeah.
Um, there there is a consistency that you need to have. You need to tell yourself early on, how much content can I reasonably produce, right? So if you tell yourself, "Oh, I can do a video 3 times a week." Great. Then commit to 3 times a week, posting at the exact same time, posting on the exact same days, and become consistent. If it's only 2, okay, it's only 2. If it's 1, okay, that's going to hurt, but that's what you want to do, right? Um and then focus on developing your uniqueness. Like find what makes you different. um, and research. I think that's something that a lot of small creators maybe don't do. Um, don't just watch the videos that you watch, but go out there and like go to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram and like search like words relevant to your thing. Search Animal Crossing videos and see what you get. See what people are doing, see what's working, and then see if that's something that you want to adopt or make your own spin, and or to find a unique way to do it. Really, it's there's an aspect of this that it's just like any other job. You need to put in the time and the effort to really understand your craft. Um and I think that's the number one thing that a lot of people lack is that consistency. They might post
Mhm.
once and then they'll post randomly again like a week later. Make a schedule, post consistently, and find your original voice. And I think that that's going to be the most important thing for me. And to kind of expand, like when I started, I told myself I wanted to be the game theory of the Sims. Like that's what I wanted to do. Like my style, my cadence, everything was very much inspired by the game theory channel, because that is what I love to watch. I love game theory videos.
Yeah.
And then from there it became my own style. But definitely that's what I recommend for everybody.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Honestly, Gonz, you are so wise, so amazing to chat with. Honestly, I could
Oh, you
chat with
too, you
you
too, Steve.
for literal hours.
I
Not gonna
appreciate that for
lie.
sure.
We'll definitely do this again for sure. But where can the people find you on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch at My Name Is Gonz.
That's good. Literally, it's a great thing because that name is across the same across the board everywhere. Easy to
Yeah,
find,
for sure.
easy to search, and not my name is Guns underscore 152,000.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Bra- Branding is key, especially names are easy to spell. Well, either way, thank you so much for being on my podcast for season 2 for
Yeah.
Hello Spring. And my friends, if you are listening, we will hopefully see and hear from you all next time. Well, my friends, that was the end of today's episode with Gonz, or My Name is Gonz. Truly one of the most insightful, knowledgeable people I know on this planet Earth. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to Sims lore, content creation, all the above. Whether it's long form, short form, or even a live stream, he's just so much fun to interact with and get to know more of what he does and how he does it. And if you love The Sims, or you love content creation, or you just love good vibes and good people, definitely check out Gonz on all the social media platforms. It's just My Name is Gonz on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, all the fun places where you can find him, whether it's playing Sims or other variety of games on the internet. And if you learned something from this episode, definitely let me know in the comments below. I would love to know all of your thoughts and opinions. But either way, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up here for today's episode. I do hope you all really enjoyed it. I definitely sure did. But make sure you check out Gonz wherever you find him on the internet. And I hopefully will hear and see you all next time in the next episode. Bye!